Hi, it's John Vitt, and today's lesson is on Billie Jean by Michael Jackson from the Trinity College London Grade 1 Drums Rock and Pop syllabus. So a massively popular song by Michael Jackson. This song was released as a single from his album Thriller in 1983. So if we look at the sheet music, in the top left you've got Billie Jean, which is the song title. Then underneath you've got some information about the piece you're going to play. So first of all you've got the style. So it says pop there, which tells you it's pop music. So that gives you an idea of what you're going to be playing, the kind of style you're going to be playing, so it sets you up. And then you've got a crotchet or a quarter note equals 108. That is the tempo, right? So that's how slow or fast you're going to be playing. So in this case, it's 108 beats per minute. And a beat is a crotchet, okay? So that's what that's telling you there. Crotchet or a quarter note equals 108. And after that, in brackets, it says 2 bars counting. So that's just letting you know when you play this with a backing track, because this music's got some music with it, there's going to be a 2-bar counting, all right? So you're going to hear 2 bars of a counting. So you're going to hear 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to take you into the piece, all right? So remember, the counting isn't just a countdown into the music, it's also letting you feel the tempo, all right? So when you hear that counting, make sure you can feel it, you internalize it, so then obviously when you start playing, you come in at the right tempo. Okay, then underneath that, you've got your stave, and on the stave, you've got your percussion clef or your neutral clef there to let you know that it's going to be percussion or drum notation. In this case, we're going to be reading. And then you've got the time signature. So again, something we need to know. So you've got 4/4 for this song. The top number's 4, which tells you there's 4 beats in the bar. So every bar is just going to be counted 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the bottom number is also 4, which tells you a quarter note or a crotchet lasts a beat. Okay, so all of them beats you're feeling are going to be crotchets or quarter notes. All right, so that brings us into the notation in the first bar. So you can see you've got a top rhythm there. So you've got 2 rhythms in the bar. The top rhythm is on the hi-hat, and you've just got quavers there, or eighth notes. So they're going to be counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and they're going to be played on the hi-hat. So remember, when there's a whole bar of quavers or eighth notes in 4/4, we divide them into 2 halves, all right? So the 1 and 2 and are beamed together, and the 3 and 4 and are beamed together. So that just makes it easier to read, okay? And then our bottom rhythm, underneath that, you've got a bass and snare rhythm, and they're playing crotchets or quarter notes. So you've got a crotchet or quarter note on the bass, and then another one on the snare, 1 on the bass, 1 on the snare. So that rhythm is just 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to be playing that snare with the left hand, because your right hand's playing over the left hand on the hi-hat, okay? So you've just got our quaver groove there we're going to be playing. And underneath you've got MF, which is the dynamic. So that is short for mezzo forte, which is moderately loud, or medium loud, or half loud, okay? So that's about your normal kind of playing level. So that's got to sit there. It's got to be nice and consistent. So remember, we're playing pop music, so it's got to be really clean. Sound obviously very consistent in terms of the subdivision, but also the dynamic, okay? So make sure there's no sort of peaks and troughs, there's no dips or bounces, okay? So make sure it all stays the same level, so there's no accents in there or anything. All right, so let's keep it nice and kind of solid sounding, and let's try and play that groove 4 times through with the metronome at the song tempo, which is 108 beats per minute. So if we look at the sheet music again, we can see after that bar of groove, we've got a 1 bar repeat symbol in the next bar. So that means we repeat the previous bar. So we just play that groove again. And then there's a double bar line at the end of the second bar. So that's just letting us know there's a musical change coming. And we can see, looking at the next bar, that musical change is the verse. All right, so we're changing into the verse for the 3rd bar. And we've got the same groove there, right? So we play the same groove and it's the same dynamic, all right? So we're still in mezzo forte because we haven't got any new dynamic markings. So we just carry on playing the initial one we had, which was MF. And then we've got 3 more 1-bar repeats to finish the line, okay? And in the last bar, you can see it says 4 written above the 1-bar repeat. So that's just an easy way for us to keep count of repeats. So when we play a groove, often we repeat it quite a few times. So if we just have loads of 1-bar repeat symbols, it's easier to kind of get lost. So because we naturally feel 4 bars, so when we're playing a groove, we can normally feel that we're on the 4th bar. Then we just number the 4th bars so we can kind of see where we are, right? So it's just kind of important just to keep count of that 4th bar. All right, so that's the top line, and then if we come into the second line, we've got 3 more 1-bar repeats. We play the same groove for another 3 bars, and that brings us into the last bar of line 2, where we've got half a bar of the groove. So you play the 1 and 2 and for the groove, and then you've got a fill for 3 and 4 and, so just quavers or 8th notes. You play the bass drum on the 3, and you play 3 snares on the and 4 and you're going to start that with the left hand. So you're going to play bass drum, left, right, left for the fill, all right? So that's 3 and 4 and. Kick, left, right, left. So let's try that bar in time with the metronome, okay? So we've got half a bar of groove and half a bar of fill, and we'll try it 4 times through with the metronome. So that fill completes the verse. So you can see you've got a double bar line after that bar, which tells you there's a musical change coming. All right, so what we're going to do is play the whole verse in time with the metronome. So you start at bar 3 in the first line, and then you've got the groove for 7 bars, and then you've got your half bar groove, half a bar fill. So let's try that in time with the metronome, those 8 bars of the verse. And that brings us into line 3. So we've got the pre-chorus here, and it says, "People always told me." That's the song lyrics, okay? So again, it just gives you a cue so you know where you are. And for this groove, we've got the same groove, but we've just got a crash on the 1, okay? So we're just going to bring in that crash symbol on the 1. And then you've got a 1-bar repeat after it. Now remember, when we have a 1-bar repeat after a bar where we've crashed for the groove, we don't repeat the crash. Okay, so that's just kind of consensus in drumming, happens a lot. If they do want you to include a crash, normally they'll write a crash in above the 1-bar repeat, all right, just to let you know. So remember, just for a groove that is. So we've got a crash into the groove, and then we repeat the groove, so just leave out the crash for the repeat. Then we've got another 1-bar repeat and another 1-bar repeat for that line, all right? So we've got that groove 4 times through, and again, you can see it says 4 written above the third 1-bar repeat, which is the 4th time playing that groove, okay? So again, it's just for ease of you keeping count of how many times you've played the groove. So let's try that line in time with the metronome, okay? So crashing in and playing 4 bars of the groove, only crashing on that first bar. And then for the next line, you've got 3 more 1-bar repeats. You're repeating that same groove. And remember, there's no crash in those repeats. And then for the final bar of that line, you've got a slight change. You've got 1 and 2 and 3 on the hi-hat. And you've got a bass drum on the 1, another bass drum on the 2, and another bass drum on the 3. And then you've got and 4 on the snare, all right? So you've got a crotchet, crotchet, quaver, quaver, crotchet. So you've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you got bass, 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 snare, snare. And you're going to play left, right on the snare because the first one's on the and. Okay, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it's going to come down off the hi-hat. So your hi-hat's playing 1 and 2 and 3, and then you'll play left, right. 1 and 2 and 3, left, right. Okay, so let's just try that bar in time with the metronome 4 times through. And now we'll try the whole line, okay? So you've got 3 bars of the groove, and then your 4th bar that we just played. So let's try all 4 bars in time with the metronome. then you can see you've got a double bar line at the end of that bar, which tells you there's another musical change coming. So that bar is the end of your pre-chorus. So let's try the whole pre-chorus in time with the metronome. So now we can play the initial 2 bars, the verse and the pre-chorus. We'll try all 3 parts in time with the metronome. And now we're going to play those 3 parts in time with the backing track. Okay, so remember, you've got a 2 bar count in, so you're going to hear 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure you can feel that tempo when you start playing. Come with a really solid, consistent groove. So remember, this is pop music, it's got to sound nice and clean. No accents or dynamic changes in there. Make sure all the quavers are evenly spaced on the hi-hat. And then just keep count of those bars. Remember, use those bar countings, those 4s, to let you know where you are. Keep the feel solid, keep the transitions tidy. So remember, when we crash into the pre-chorus, make sure you don't miss that crash. And obviously hold the groove nice and steady, and we don't crash on any of the repeats, remember, for that groove. And we finish with that slight change up. So remember, for the last bar, you're going to take the backbeat out. All right, on the 2, you got bass, bass. So don't forget that as well. It's easy to forget that part. So let's try the initial 2 bars, the verse and the pre-chorus in time with the backing track.
She was born like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who will dance on the floor and around. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. And mother always told me, be careful who you love, and be careful what you do, because the lie becomes the truth. Yeah. Billie Jean.
So that brings us into the chorus, which is the last line of the first page. Okay, you can see chorus written there, so we're at bar 19. So you've got the same groove, all right? So we're going to hold that same groove. We've got 2 more 1 bar repeats, so we play the groove another 2 times. So you've got it 3 times there. And then we've got the 4th bar on that line. We've got half a bar of the groove, so you've got your 1 and 2 and then you've got your 2 beat fill. So you're going to play 3, 4 and. So you've got a crotch or a quarter note and then quavers or 8th notes. You've got 3, 4 and that's going to be played right, left on the snare. So let's give that bar a go 4 times through with a metronome. And now we'll try that whole line, okay? So 3 bars of the groove, and then that 4th bar little change up there, we play the 2 beat fill. And then moving on to the next page, so at bar 23, so you can see we've got the same groove written there, so we play the same groove, then we've got 2 more 1 bar repeats, we play the same groove for another 2 bars, so it's 3 bars in total for that line, and then at the end of the line, you've got another short fill there, so you play the 1 and 2 and 3 of the groove, and you've got an and, so a quaver on the snare, which you're going to play with your left hand, and then you've got 40 and on the snare drum, so you're going to play that right, left, right. So that bar will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 40 and. So remember that first and is going to be played with the left hand. So the feel is going to be left, right, coming off the groove. Right, so let's just try just that bar 4 times through with the metronome. And now we'll try the whole line. So the groove for 3 bars, and then 3 beats of the groove, and then coming off and playing that short feel on the snare drum. Then you can see another double bar line, which tells you there's another musical change. So we come into the outro at bar 27. The groove's slightly different here. So on the bass drum now, we've got 2 quavers on the 3. So your bass and snare rhythm is 1, 2, 3, and 4 now. And also you can see how the X of the cymbal has moved down. So it's moved onto the line, which means we play on the ride cymbal. So you've got the ride playing quavers, and then the bass and snare playing your crotchet, quavers, crotchet, or quarter note, eighth notes, quarter note. Alright, so let's just try that groove 4 times through to get used to that, playing that groove. And then for the last bar of that line, you're still on the ride cymbal, but you play 2 quavers on the bass drum on the 1. You play your 2 on the snare, and then your and of 2. Then you play the 3 on the ride and the bass drum. Then you play the and of 3 on the snare, the left hand. Then you play 2 floor toms as quavers, so for 4 and. So you've got bass, snare, play your and. Then you've got 3 with the bass drum and ride. Your and with the snare, so you've got 3 and 4 and on the floor tom. Okay, so let's try that bar in time with the metronome 4 times through. So remember, collectively it's an 8th note rhythm, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so keep count of all them notes, try it 4 times through the metronome. And now we'll try the whole line. So 3 bars of the groove on the ride cymbal with those quavers on the 3, remember. And when we change to that 4th bar, the quavers come in on the 1 on the bass drum, and you've got that feel on 3 and 4. So let's try the whole line in time with the metronome. And that brings us into the last line. So we've got the same groove we had on the previous line with the crotchet snare, quavers, crotchet snare. And then we've got a 1 bar repeat, and then you play the same groove pretty much, but you're just changing up the 4. So instead of playing 4 and, we're just going to play the 4. So we've got a crotchet or a quarter note on the 4. So you're going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so let's just try just that bar 4 times through the metronome. Just get used to playing that crotchet on, or quarter note on the 4. And then we finish in the last bar with that crotchet on the 1. So this is played on the snare, the floor tom, and the bass drum. So all 3 drums at the exact same time. Okay, so make sure they all play in unison. All right, on the 1, and above that note, we've got a little articulation mark there, which is a accent. So that tells us to put more emphasis on the note, some more stress or more force on the note, so it really stands out. All right, so we're going to incorporate that, and we're going to play the whole line. So you've got the groove, you repeat the groove, and then you've got your groove where you play the crotchet on the 4, and then you've got your finish as a crotchet on the 1. All right, so remember to play the accent on the 1, and that's the end of the piece. All right, so let's try that whole line in time with the metronome. And now we'll try the whole outro, okay? So those 2 lines, we'll be grooving on the ride cymbal and adding in some fills, and obviously that accent at the end, all right? So let's try the whole outro in time with the metronome. So now we can play the chorus and the outro. We're going to try both of them parts in time with the metronome, okay? So we're going to try and practice the transition from the chorus groove, which is on the hi-hat, and the fills in the chorus, and then we're going to change into the ride cymbal groove for the outro, playing the fills in the ride section, and we're going to have that nice finish as an accent, that crotchet finish on the 1, all right? So try and put that all together in time with the metronome. So we played the first sections to the track, so now we're going to try the chorus and the outro in time with the backing track. Okay, so let's try and put those 2 parts together. So you've got your hi-hat groove for the chorus with some fills, and then you've got your ride groove with some fills for the outro. So let's try those 2 parts in time with the backing track.
And mother always told me, be careful who you love, and be careful what you do, because the lie becomes the truth. Hey, Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one, but the kid is not my son. Billie Jean is not my lover. Billie Jean is not my lover. Billie Jean is not my lover. Billie Jean is not my lover.
So now we can play the whole piece. We're going to put it in time with the backing track, all right? So we're going to play it with the music. So you've done it in 2 parts, so now we're going to put it together, make sure it all flows nicely, so you get all them transitions nice and smooth, and make sure the groove is consistent, all right? So remember the feel you've got to give it for this song. You've got to give that nice pop, strong groove sort of feel. So make sure the groove is consistent. There's no dynamic changes in there. It sticks at mezzo forte the whole way through and really holds the song together. All right, make sure all the fills are tidy, and like I said, the transition from section to section is also neat and tidy. All right, make sure you finish strong on that accent, and make sure you're complimenting the other musicians when you listen to the music. So concentrate on your part. Once you're comfortable there, play it again and just make sure you're sitting in with the mix well, all right? So you're mixing in with the other musicians well, so it all sounds nice and tidy. So have fun with it, and let's try the song the whole way through.
She was born like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who will dance on the floor and around. People always told me, be
So that's the whole song. So remember, when you practice through the parts, we did it at song tempo. And remember, that's the target tempo. So you want to start somewhere a little bit slower just to make sure all the parts are sounding nice and to your liking. Once you're there, slowly bump up the tempo to the song tempo. Once you're at the song tempo and you're playing that comfortably, that's when you can start playing it to the music, all right? So remember, take your time with all the parts. Make sure it sounds good. That's the main thing, all right? And you're having fun. So bear that in mind, and we'll see you in the next lesson.